Quick question, rich friends. Would it be helpful for you if I made a web page on my own site where you could go to find the links for all of the videos, and like underneath each video was a little bit of a show notes type deal where I would link out to some helpful resources that I mentioned in the videos, and I could even link or somehow embed all of the live streams that we did and sort them by video so that you could easily reference all of our copywriting material in one place. I have been thinking about making individual show notes for these videos, but then I was thinking, you know what, maybe that's a little bit confusing. So let me know. Just type yes in the comments below if you'd love to have one easy web page where you could reference all of our lessons together. I know that we've taken a deep dive into some marketing tactics, and I know that a lot of you have told me that you want to be able to review this material again and again. So just type yes down below in the comments if you would love to have all of our lessons together, all 4 lessons, all resources that I talked about underneath, and easy to reference links to all of our live streams in one easy place. Okay, so just type yes there in the comments if you think that that would be a good idea, or if that's something I could do that would help you. Now, let's talk about our lesson today. Our lesson has 3 main sections. We're going to talk about strategy, tools, and then tactics. And in the tactics section, that's where we're going to dive into specific considerations for individual platforms of different social media sites. Today's lesson is about social media. And, you know, I had kind of a hard time figuring out how I was going to approach this. You have to remember that I'm a copywriter and not a social media expert, so we're going to approach social media in fundamentally different ways. Social media experts are going to be really concerned with building your following on platform and increasing engagement on platform. Not that that's not important, but copywriters like me, we have just a little bit of a different approach to things. So for me, the purpose of posting on social media for your business is for list building. It's not to generate on-network fans or likes, because for me, I feel like these things are vanity metrics. So it's important to be honest with yourself about the purpose of your social media, and it is to generate new leads for your business, right? Because otherwise, why are you spending your time on it? And being concerned with the fact that the purpose of your social media is to generate leads, that's going to help you steer towards posting the right things, and it's also going to steer you away from making the wrong decisions. So here's one example. You might avoid setting a Facebook ad for likes, because like a like generation campaign. Why? Because your goal isn't to increase your likes on Facebook necessarily. Your goal is to use Facebook to build your lead list. And perhaps a secondary goal may be to use Facebook to give value to your community. But remember and notice that at no point in time are we specifically trying on purpose to grow our Facebook likes. So keep in mind that as you continue posting quality content and following the best practices of posting that we're going to go over in the tactics section per individual social media network, you're naturally going to get more followers on that platform anyway. So that's why it's totally fine if your focus is not getting more followers, because that's going to happen naturally by default when you follow these list building guidelines that we're going to talk about. So when you're driving leads to your email list from social media, it involves 2 main types of posts: indirect posts and direct promotion posts. So indirect posts, that's going to encompass a lot of your relationship building. It's the posts like letting your community behind the scenes and showing them what you're working on. It can also be effective to tell people what you're struggling with, because maybe they can help you. Or obviously one example of this is when I am posting photos in our Yacht Club Elite group, and I'm posting images of my desktop in Sony Vegas, because in that way I'm not giving you a direct call to action to like click out and watch the video. So it's a little more of an indirect way for me to let you know that I have something new coming for you, and for me to help you get excited about that. So indirect posting, it's all about the fun stuff. It's when you're having the one-on-one interactions with your community and you're talking about your favorite TV shows, or you're telling people what's going on with your personal life. And keep in mind that this assortment of indirect and direct, it can also apply to email marketing, but everything that I'm talking about in this video, this is for social media, okay? So, but just keep in mind that your emails, you could also divide them into indirect and direct promotions. So a direct promotion post, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's where you're going to be writing a benefit-directed explanation of what your reader is going to get out of the resource, and you're probably linking them straight to an opt-in page to download the content, or perhaps you're linking them straight to content for them to read if it's, for example, on your blog and it's not not behind some type of a pay gate or an information gate. An information gate means that they'll have to opt in by giving their email address to get access to the information. So direct promoting also includes adding direct calls to action to your landing pages for products that you're selling, and posting discount codes or social media specific offers. So how do you know if you're posting too many of one and not enough of the other? How often should you be giving indirect posts, and how often should you be giving direct posts? So here's how you can find out. Pick 10 of your posts at random, a group of 10, and just keep it from this year to keep it simple. So how many of those posts would you consider sorting into indirect posts? 3 of them, 5 of them, 9? And on the flip side, how many in this group of 10 do you find are direct posts? And this is, just what do you consider them based off of reading the content that you posted? Would you say maybe 3 are direct promotions, 5? And so here's a great guideline for you. You really would want to see that you have about 8 indirect posts in a group of 10, and that the other 2 in any individual group of 10 are going to be direct posts. So an 80-20 relationship between indirect and direct posts. So, and just keep in mind that indirect doesn't mean don't talk about your business. It just means that instead of saying 25% off your next visit for a fall sale, you might post something more like, hey guys, I just wanted to tell you what I've been working on lately. Our fall sale is coming up in 2 weeks, so I've been working my butt off on designing new products. I've got a great new flavor of baking mix coming out just in time to celebrate Halloween. I'm also going to be putting together some decorating kits and guides to make celebrating Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas a breeze. You wouldn't believe how much work goes into creating new items, but I'm so excited for you to finally see them. You can check out all the new goodies here with like a link, and I'll even give you a 25% discount with the offer code for being such a great friend. Check it out here, and then a URL. Okay, so the biggest part of your strategy and using social media for list building is going to be having some type of freebie opt-in. Okay, so there's really 2 main types or categories that freebie opt-ins fall into. You have your keystone opt-in and your secondary opt-ins. So a keystone opt-in, that's going to be maybe what you're known for. It should be something really, really premium. I mean, ideally everything that you put out is premium, but this keystone one, it shouldn't be something that you just flipped your camcorder on and the camera work is shaky and the delivery is only okay, but the content is good. No, your keystone content, it should make people feel like, wow, I can't believe that I got this for free. And it should make people excited to work with you. And also it should give them a very clear idea of what working with you is like in the future. So for example, if you were creating a freebie opt-in for, say you have like a video course and maybe your freebie opt-in is another video, you would want that freebie video, you want it to look almost identical or at least a very similar quality to what's going to be in the course. So like if you hired your neighbor who has a great camera, you borrowed a professional camera from a friend, or maybe you bought a high quality camera yourself to record your video course, you're going to want to use that same quality for your freebie opt-in, okay? So it's something that you want to put a lot of work into, and you may even want to spend 1 or 2 weeks planning out this keystone content, because what you can do is you can ask questions of your market, of your list, to try to find out what they're struggling with. You can ask them what they liked about your course. You could ask them where they struggled in your course. You could ask them what their #1 challenge is about improving in whatever your niche is. So for me, for example, I'm a copywriter, and that also really means that I'm a business and marketing consultant. So something that I might ask in this example could be, what's your #1 challenge with growing your business online? So just to give you a little bit of perspective, this keystone content, you're really going to want to knock that out of the park. And the secondary opt-ins, that's just going to be kind of everything else that you have. So it could be all your other checklists, guides, your other downloadable videos, your other audio content, just every other piece that is a part of your lead generation strategy. So now let's discuss a few different types of opt-ins that you could try. The first one, and this one is a favorite of Amy Porterfield, who I definitely recommend you check out her information, especially if you're curious about building your website with Facebook, generating leads with Facebook. That's what she focuses on. So she really loves to do a 3-part video series, and I'm going to use our rich friend Tamisha as an example of what your 3-part video series opt-in could look like. So Tamisha has a challenge on her website that you can buy. It's a 5-day to a plant-based lifestyle digital course. So let's use that product of hers as an example, and let's think through a 3-part video series that Tamisha could create for her course together, so that you could really understand how a copywriter is approaching this opt-in process of creating an opt-in. So maybe her first video to promote her 5 days to a plant-based lifestyle digital course, maybe the first video could be something about grocery store essentials. She could talk about all of the food staples that she tries to have in her home at any point in time that makes putting together healthy meals really easy for her. And something that you're going to want to remember if you move forward with developing a 3-part video series is that you're going to want to create an open loop in the brain of the viewer. By at the end, you're going to want to say, remember to look out for video 2 where we're going to cover X, Y, and Z. That's going to be your call to action at the end. So an example of the second video that she could create in the series, it could be like a kitchen walkthrough. I noticed that on her website she has a resource page where she talks about all of the gadgets that she has in her kitchen that just makes cooking a lot easier for her. And so I think that would make an excellent video for a 3-part series. And remember, again, you want to create that open loop. An open loop means that people are expecting something to come next, but the thing didn't come, so they're still waiting for it. You see what I'm saying? Like a closed loop is after the thing comes. So the open loop is like you promised a thing is coming and it hasn't come yet. That's all an open loop is. It's just a fancy psychological term. And so you'll again want to create that open loop in your video. You're going to want to have the call to action be, don't miss out on video 3 where we're going to talk about blah, 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 blah. Remember to put that at the end. And we're going to have more YouTube specific tactics in the tactics section of our guide. But we're just going to talk through this simple example of a 3-part video series before I go on to some of the more advanced tactics. So her third video in this hypothetical opt-in, it could be something about how to plan a healthy day. And Tamisha could just create a few guidelines about like how she plans her breakfast, her lunch, her dinner. Maybe she could even give a sample recipe or 2, although I guess you wouldn't want to include recipes that are part of your 5-day challenge. But I'm sure that she has 1,000,001 recipes and she could easily come up with a few to talk through. You could even bring the ingredients together, and like what I like to do is you could think of it almost like a little bit of a cooking show, and you could like pre-measure the ingredients out. And so it'll take a little bit of time for setup in between the different scenes, but it's a very pretty display, and it's also very eye-catching to just have that set out in front of the table as though you're really about to cook it. Maybe you could even start to combine some things together. You don't have to go through the whole process of cooking it. Like, this is not the Food Network. But, I just wanted to give that little bit of a tip, because especially if you're doing it on Facecam, for a 3-part opt-in, sometimes having some things on the table can be a great draw for visuals. Or maybe she could even just talk about her fallback meals. Like, I'm sure that she has just a few recipes that she defaults to, if say that, things that she cooks for dinner when she just has a total like recipe creativity block type of thing. That would all make an excellent video 3. And so if you're going to do a 3-part video series, you're going to want to reference how long and let's say that specifically it's for a course and the course is also a video course. You're going to want to just reference really quick how long the videos in your course are. So one example that we had with one of our rich friends, Erica, was that Erica has a painting video course. And so she told me that the videos in her class are about 15 minutes. So when we were talking about what type of opt-in she could make, we decided that she would probably want to keep her videos between like 5 to 10 minutes and not go too far towards the 15 mark, because when people transition from your freebie and go to your paid course, you are not going to want them to feel like they made a downgrade in content. And what other types of opt-ins could you have? Well, you could do podcasts or some type of audio download. You could have some other type of video, even if it's not in a 3-part series. It could be standalone videos, or it could just be another sequence, but it's just not, the product that you're known for. It could just go along with some of the other series that you've had in your blog. Another good idea for having a lead generation opt-in is just PDF downloads in general. And so there's a few different types of PDF downloads. Some we're going to go over verbally, and some I'm just going to flip really quick to the desktop to show you with your own eyes so that you could see. So one type of PDF download that you could do, and this is especially helpful for some of us rich friends who have ebooks that we're selling, you could just pull a chapter of your book, and that could be a great opt-in to have across your whole website. And Amy Porterfield, like I mentioned her before, she has had a lot of success. She has a book, and she has noted in some of her material that across her entire website, the book chapter performs the best overall. And so what that means is that you'll see that many big name people like Amy Porterfield or these figures who have a team around them, a lot of these people will have individual opt-ins per blog post. So what she's saying is that maybe on one individual blog post, like she has this is made up. Maybe a blog post is how to plan your first Facebook marketing campaign. And she has at the bottom of that blog post a little checklist of all the steps to planning your first Facebook marketing campaign. So like on that individual web page, maybe that opt-in 50% is a lot. Let's say maybe like 25% of people will pick that opt-in. But she may add that to the bottom of another blog post, like let's say a guide to first time live video on Facebook. And sometimes when you do, like maybe she doesn't have a specific opt-in for that topic, maybe she'll include her Facebook marketing checklist at the bottom as an opt-in. But that doesn't closely match the topic of the actual post, so you would expect that less people would click on that. So maybe, before in the Facebook marketing specific post, maybe 25% of people are clicking on it. But this post about live streaming video on Facebook, it's not as closely related. So maybe only 5% of people would decide to pick that one. And so what Amy is saying, about her ebook chapter is that maybe across her whole website, that has like 10 or 15% of people who opt into that. So a chapter from an ebook, or even just a selection from your book. So for example, like one rich friend of ours, Ashley, she has a yoga ebook, and we talked about that on one of her live streams. And something that she could do for that, or if you have an ebook where there's like a logical progression of the skills that you're teaching, You could pull the introductory chapter. You could pull a skill from the beginning. So in her example, we talked about maybe if she has a chapter that is pretty simple, maybe it just covers proper yoga breathing technique. That would be a great chapter to pull. And then you can pull a chapter from a later section where maybe she's talking about an individual pose or a specific sequence of poses. And that way, you're giving people a better idea of what to expect across your whole book, but you're not leaving beginners isolated. You don't want to, you know, for Ashley's situation, or any, like I said, any type of situation where your book covers skills that progress from basic and build a foundation on top to the more advanced skills. You don't want beginners to feel isolated, but at the same time, if more intermediate or advanced people are checking it out, you don't want to mislead them about the content of your book if it also includes advanced material. So in this way, by picking an intro, a simple skill, and then a complicated skill, you can give everybody at different skill levels a clear idea of what they can get from your book. Another example of a PDF download style that you could use for an opt-in comes to us from Neville Medora. He is the owner of copywritingcourse.com. Copywriting and course are both spelled with a K. And something that he does is that he offers each of his of his articles as a PDF download. So you can just simply click on this image and it will deliver to you a PDF copy of this exact article. So if you wanted to know how you could do this yourself, I can't give you directions for every single possible combination of softwares and of marketing softwares, and you know, some of you use WordPress, some of you use Kajabi, but we're just gonna really quick look up some directions together, and this way you can see how I'm thinking of these categories and you can find similar information for whatever types of tools that you use. So how can you do this? How can you send a specific article to somebody based off, or you know, a specific email, a specific download based off of how they opted into your website? So we're going to do this Google search, MailChimp sort by opt-in form. And so if you're not using MailChimp, what you can do is you'll just replace MailChimp, you'll replace this with whatever the software is. And so we find here a article from MailChimp popped up pretty close, and this one says assigning subscribers to pre-selected groups. And so it's going to give you step-by-step directions on how exactly you can do this. This is perfect. And so in this article, we learned that MailChimp calls this option pre-selected groups, quote unquote, okay? Not every single marketing software is going to call these all the same. But let's say that, I'm using Thrive Leads, right? And so some of you guys may be using a different type of pop-up than MailChimp forms. So now, how could we find out how you can do this with our specific software? So like I said, we learned that MailChimp calls these pre-selected groups, right? So what we can try now is use Thrive Leads or whatever your software is, and I'm going to write MailChimp pre-selected groups. But if you were doing something else, you would write use Thrive Leads Aweber, and then whatever, you probably have pulled up a knowledge base article on their website and you found out whatever they call this pre-selected groups feature, and you would write that instead. And so bam, right here at the top is an article by Thrive, and it is going to helpfully tell us how we could execute the same thing that Neville is doing on our own website. So like I said, it's pretty hard for me to give a specific directions for every single possible combination of tools that you're using, but I just wanted to do this research together so that you could understand what exactly I was thinking or how you can find out what these things are called. So A few other types, and I'm just going to keep it on the desktop right now because we're about to jump to something else on the desktop. A few other types of PDF downloads that you could create are cheat sheets. You could create shorter guides to a topic or more in-depth guides. Like let's say in our Amy Porterfield example, she's writing about Facebook, setting up your first Facebook marketing campaign. She could have maybe a 30-page ebook that is a more in-depth guide on how to do the targeting and how to do this, that, or how to troubleshoot, or all these types of things. And then you could also make a pack of blog posts. So again, using Amy Porterfield as an example, she has probably covered Facebook marketing several different times. So if instead of writing a brand new guide, she could just pull together several blog posts that she's written on that same topic and put them into a little package, and that package could be sent to people. So the second step to your strategy is that once you have your lead magnet, you're going to need to create something called an opt-in page. And so instead of going through step-by-step directions on how you can make an opt-in page, I have an even more fun way that we can figure out what this is and how you can make it. Let's look at the evolution of one influencer's opt-in page and see what we can learn from that. So here's a little bit of a learning strategy. I like to use something called the Wayback Machine. It's basically an archive of the webs of the internet in general. And what this is helpful for is that sometimes influencers and gurus, they will only have the copy on their web page available for a certain amount of time. Like for example, sometimes their cart closes, you're not able to buy the course currently, and so they take their sales page offline. And that's really a bummer because then we can't learn from it, right? And so if it's closed, if a guru or an influencer that you follow has a page like this and you really wish that you could learn from it, but they're in a little bit of a closed cart situation, I am happy to show you, this is my technique for how you can learn from anybody, whether they want you to or not. So we're going to learn from Amy Porterfield today. And this is pretty cool. I wanted to show you guys this full process here. And so, like I said, what this does is this just takes little pictures of your website, right? So this is, let's check this out. Sometimes they don't always work. So yeah, so sometimes like when Wayback Machine tried to take a picture of her website at this point in time, it didn't work. Oh, okay, so it was redirecting to go to webinar. So there was nothing actually on this page for it to screenshot. But as you can see, the Wayback Machine, it's been taking photographs of the internet since the 90s. So you can pretty much see every single step of the evolution of any influencer's individual website. And all you do is you just copy the URL of their specific sales page and you paste it into there. The one that I did, like amyporterfield.com/webinar, that's just the one that she uses to drive traffic to all the time. So we're going to look at 3 different styles of opt-in pages. 2 of these are going to be from Amy Porterfield, and then the third one we're going to look at some other examples, okay? And so style number 1, example number 1, this is a benefit-driven opt-in page. And so obviously her website didn't look exactly like this, but we can see the text that she had, and we can even watch this video that she has on her page. Oop. All right. Well, no, we can't. But sometimes you can. It just depends on whether or not they have taken the link off of the native source, which for this one is Vimeo. So like if this is not accessible on her Vimeo anymore, then this is not going to work on Wayback Machine either. But oftentimes they don't remove the videos, and so you usually can see all of that type of stuff. But what you can do to create this type of benefit-driven opt-in page is that you're going to watch your freebie back. Like, you made your 3-part video series, or you made your webinar, or whatever people are opting in for. And you're just going to simply watch it back. You're going to open up a blank document or grab a pen and a paper, and you're just going to create a little bullet list. And every bullet, you're going to just write down what topic you covered. And so you'll go minute by minute what topics you're covering in your freebie until you're done rewatching it. And then bam, you have right in front of your eyes a very simple bullet point list of all of the amazing benefits that somebody can get out of watching your video. And then when you have your finished list of bullets, all you have to do is just, edit, and you can rework them or massage them to be more eye-catching, or just to be more enticing, or to better communicate why that skill is important. And take a look at some of these examples down here, like setting priorities. I bet that if Amy went and rewatched her webinar, she's like, bam, one topic that we cover is setting priorities. And so what does she do afterwards? She is elaborating on it. Why is setting priorities important? Setting priorities is important because this one can 100% make or break your business, okay? So some of them are a little more obvious, like, getting people to tell all their friends about your email list. Great, like that is a pretty obvious one. But she is telling you that you're going to have a stream. So what are benefits? Let's just read basically the end of all of these bullets. This can 100% make or break your business. So that's kind of like a negative consequence if you don't set your priorities right, correct? So another benefit is that you're going to figure out how to get people to tell all their friends about your email list. You're going to get opt-in strategies that work all the time, and so you don't have to figure it out. You're going to see how Amy attracts her own leads to her business. You're going to be able to learn how to create a steady stream of leads on autopilot. You're going to learn how to grab the attention of your ideal audience on Facebook, and you're going to be able to convert fans into leads in a way that won't break the bank. Okay, so do you see how this setup of a landing page is specifically geared towards telling you the benefit of every single thing that you're going to learn? And then it's just ready to grab your spot, and so I would just assume that a button was below that. Like I said, sometimes it doesn't perfectly capture the full web page, but it will at least get all of this copy, and so you can learn from the pros. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to guess. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just look at what the experts are doing, learn from it, and figure out how you can apply it to your own business. So example number 2, I call this like the low friction opt-in page, and this one is another one of Amy Porterfield's. This is her live page, and so you see what this is a little small, probably even on your screen. You see what this says? V equals 3. That means that she's probably had several different versions of this, and she may even be split testing this exact opt-in page. It may have different text combinations, different headlines, different this, different that. And she is testing in her own business which setup of this type of low friction opt-in page gets her the best results. So finally, the third type of opt-in page that we're going to talk about, this is the resources or the library page. It can just be one place where you gather all of your freebies, all of the different opt-ins that you offer across your website, where your fans, your community can have one easy to reference place to find all of them. And so somebody who does this extremely well is HubSpot. HubSpot, they have a little searchable database of all of the different opt-ins that they make, and they sort it by different categories, whether it's email marketing, whether it's SEO, whether it's copywriting, whether it's, I don't know if I said content marketing already, but so this is a great example. And I want to show you a second example because I understand that this one is a little bit advanced. So I'm not saying that yours needs to be as fancy as this. You don't need to have them separated by categories. You don't need to have 267 different lead generators. You know what I'm saying? This is very, very extreme, and you have to keep in mind that HubSpot is a huge company. They have a team of thousands of people. So I just wanted to show you this as a great example that you can learn from, but I don't want you to feel stressed like you have to make it so fancy as this. So let's look at another version of this tactic, and this one is just by Neville Medora, and he simply has linked over here what I believe these are is that these are all of his articles that have the little PDF download thingy at the bottom of them. And, you know, this I think is more appropriate for you if you want to do some type of a resource page or something like that. You know, just a simple grid style where you click out. Maybe you have 6, you know. Again, you have to keep in mind, Neville has been in business for, I think, over 5 years for sure. So it's okay if you don't have, like, I don't know, he seems like he has maybe 20 or 30 or something of these. So if you don't have that many, that's totally fine, but just imagine yours as like the first 2 rows of this. Maybe you have only 6 or 3 or something. But all in all, to do some type of a resources page like this, that's a great third style of an opt-in page. Now let's look at some tools that you can use to make sure that your social media list building is a success. The first tool that I want to show you, I'm going to show you 2 different tools, and this is for lead generation. The first one I'm going to show you is called Thrive Leads. We've discussed this a little bit in our live streams, but I just wanted to include it in the lessons so that everybody can know about these 2 great resources. If you're wondering how do you get little pop-ups on your website that get people to put in your name and their email and all that type of stuff, how you can do A/B testing and advanced targeting, we're going to go over 2 tools for you to do that. Thrive Leads, it's a paid version. We're going to show a free tool in a second to do this. But what I wanted to tell you guys is that many of these opt-in tools like SumoMe, for example, are monthly recurring fees. What I like about Thrive Leads is that it's just a one-time purchase. You buy 1 license per website, and it's only $67 to get this on your own website. And so you can create all types of opt-ins. You can, if you've ever read like Amy Porterfield's or Pat Flynn's blog, and at the bottom it'll be all like, oh hey, if you like this article, just type your email in here and I'll give you my free opt-in all on Facebook marketing guide or whatever. That's an inline form. You can create that with this plugin, pop-ups. You can have the bars at the top. I like this one because, like I said, it's just a simple one and done. You can also add locks to your articles that people have to give their email to get into them. But yeah, it's just a one and done, one-time purchase, but it's extremely powerful. You can have a lot of split testing options, a lot of targeting options, and it's used by figures like Pat Flynn and John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneurs on Fire. So this is a tool that the pros use, you guys. So if you're looking to get serious about list building and email marketing in your business, I would highly, highly recommend Thrive Leads. But if you can't pay for something and that's not in the cards for you right now, I do have a free option as well. This one is called Icegram, and you know, it's a very simple way to create calls to action, but they have a lot of great features on here as well. You can create several different styles of pop-ups, like the messages, the bars, the bottom. So, and they do have a paid version as well, but if you were going to look for a paid option, I would highly recommend just straight up switching to Thrive Leads. But if you are looking for something that's a free tool in the meantime to get you started, I would highly recommend Icegram. Another tool that's really going to help you with your list building on social media is called PrettyLink. You can pay for it or you can have a free version, but the free version is pretty powerful. And what it is that it lets you create short links like bit.ly.com or tinyurl, except instead of having those websites, you can create it from your own domain. So a lot of the big names like Amy Porterfield, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Brands, like big brands like Nasty Gal, they all use this thing, and it'll look a little bit more similar to your website instead of letting, you know, why should you let Bit.ly or why should you let tinyurl have their brand on the front of your interactions with your audience? And so, like I said, what I like about PrettyLink is that if you don't want to pay or paying for these tools is not in your cards right now, you can still get a lot of really great features and it's free. And then when you are able to, you can pay for some of the more advanced features. Now let's just talk really quickly about some social media tools. I'm going to show you 3 tools that I use that they automate my social media, and they're all free. So with the buffer.com, for free, you can add 3 accounts to connect them. So I'm using it for my LinkedIn, my Instagram, and my Facebook group, because I automate my Facebook page with a different tool, well, 2 different tools, but mainly one tool that I'm going to show you. And then some of my other social media is just automatically populated. But this one, it's a scheduling software. You can review all your previous posts and have analytics from them. You can share photos, and I'm pretty sure that you can share, you can share videos too, and that's free as well. I have the Buffer app on my cell phone, so I just upload videos straight from that. But it's a super powerful tool, and I really enjoy it. You can schedule out 10 posts, but you can change the schedule. So like to schedule 10 things in advance, that could be 10 weeks of scheduling for you if you're only posting once per week. But I'm posting every day, so like to have 10 posts is pretty much like 2 weeks on my my Facebook group. Another tool that I like to use is called If This Then That, or IFTTT. And basically what it allows you to do is that when you are I have mine set. I'm going to talk about the specific ways that I have mine set up in the tactics section per individual social media channel. But I just have mine set up that when I post on my Instagram, that goes out automatically to my business Facebook page. And it also, I have it set up that it tweets my Instagram photos on Twitter. And the way that I have it set up is that it actually, often when you put a link or something to a photo, it doesn't pull up that photo in Twitter when people are scrolling through the news feeds. It just has a link. And so the way that I have it set up in If This Then That, it will automatically embed the photo as a native photo on Twitter too. And so I just wanted to show you guys, this is what it looks like on my Facebook. It's a pretty smooth transition. Like, you know, with some other automation things, sometimes when it's copying your post from Instagram and putting it onto Facebook, these emojis might display as just squares, like error emoji, Unicode squares. I don't have that problem with If This Then That. I don't touch most of these posts, and they all come out almost exactly perfectly. Every once in a while, I go back and I will edit the post, and I'll just add a direct link to the article, because I think that natively, I'm pretty sure that it might just click them out to your Instagram. Yeah, and so it does click them out to your Instagram, and that's helpful. But sometimes when it's my article pages or something like that, I would prefer to have it click out directly to the article. So that's really the only reason that I go and would edit something. But If This Then That is also a free tool, and they have paid options as well. But for a lot of the time, I have found their free offering to be completely fine. The third tool that I use, and so keep in mind that this app, Facebook Pages Manager, which is also available on the iTunes Store, but I use Android, so that's why we're looking at it in the Play Store. Simply type Facebook Pages Manager into the Apple Store, and you will pull up this page as well. But between this app and the other 2 that I showed you, If This Then That and Buffer, I automate all of my social media, and it looks extremely natural. And I really don't, I'm not super active on my Facebook page, but between all of my other content, it is having at least 3 posts per week on my own Facebook page, which is pretty good considering the fact that often I am not posting on there directly. In this Facebook Pages Manager, this is the reason why I don't have my Facebook business page through Buffer, because like I said, Buffer, they only let you automate 3 accounts for free. And so I can schedule out posts in advance with this Facebook Pages Manager. So I took that off of my buffer and I added my personal Facebook group instead. So what if you were looking for paid options, though, for this automation type of thing? I have 2 paid options that I wanted to discuss with you as well. This one is called Loomly, and this is what digital marketing agencies like to use. Buffer is $10 a month for their paid option, but for Buffer, you're only able to get 10, or it only lets you do 100 posts per month, like 100 automated posts. But this one, it will let you do unlimited posts, and it also includes file uploads and a lot of things like that. So if you're looking for a paid option, I might consider doing Loomly instead. And something else that I wanted to point out to you guys is something called Zapier. So this one is a little bit more expensive than Loomly or than Buffer, but it's not exactly, and there is also a free option as well. But some of these paid options can be really incredible because what it can do is Zapier, it integrates with a lot of different web apps. And so it can help you tie together apps that don't naturally relate to one another. So you can see here, like this is a Trello icon, right? So what Zapier could let you do is it also integrates with MailChimp, which their logo is over here. But Trello and MailChimp, I'm pretty sure, don't natively work together, right? But with Zapier, what you could do is you could tie even specific sequences of emails through MailChimp to people's activity on Trello. So one example of this, and maybe I can pull it up while I'm talking, but sometimes apps will use public Trello boards so that their users or their community can request features, and like Trello has voting up and down and comments, and so some companies or brands just like to use Trello for to keep up with their community, but specifically to prioritize what types of features and things like that they want. So this is an example of Habitica. It's a little bit of an app where you can gamify your to-do list. So like you get points and you have a little RPG character and you can level up and find things and fight monsters and party with other, like make a party, like a RPG party of questers in one group. But you can make a little party with your friends and you can, be competing with each other, trying to check off more things or get more experience and anything like that. So this was just an example of how one company is using Trello, but here they are specifically, you can request integrations or you can request different features. They can tell their community what they're working on right now. They can tell their community what's coming up next, and they can tell their community here what has been accepted. And so like you can see here, this has 505 upvotes, right? And so what is so powerful about Zapier is that you can make apps that don't naturally work together actually integrate with each other. So if you were trying to get some type of a paid automation software and not just specifically for posting on social media, this could be a really good option for you. And I know that one website who uses this is the Foundation for Economic Education. And that's the reason why I was recommending Zapier to you, because I just wanted to show you guys, like, look at how many articles they're posting every single day. They're posting like, I don't know, this is 6 articles. This is like 5 articles per day, just about. And this is one company that I know that they automate their social media posting with Zapier. So that's why I wanted to bring it up to you guys, because I know that I have observed it being used by companies who just have an extreme flow of content, and to be able to successfully do that. So that I just want to tell you guys about that one as well. Now, these are a few other social tools that I have to share with you as well. They're not for automation, but they're just integrations that you can have into your overall social media lead generation strategy that might make your job easier. This one is called Social Warfare. It's a plugin for your WordPress site, And it's just super highly customizable social share buttons. But the reason why I picked this one over a lot of them is that this one is highly customizable. So you can have custom images, like you could, if somebody is sharing your post on Twitter, you could have a different picture than even any picture that's in your blog. You see what I'm saying? You can pre-write what people are going to tweet. You can have click-to-tweet quotes. You can, it'll automatically, you can pick from the social share icons being above the content, below the content, or both. But you can also add social share icons anywhere with simple short code buttons. And something else that I liked about this was that it automatically puts a share, like a pin this photo on pictures. Like before you needed to have a separate plugin to do that, but this this social sharing plugin, they even have that little hover over pictures and have things be able to be shared. That's all integrated into one app. And like I said, you could also do click to tweet quotes. So this is a great all-around tool to help make it super easy for your existing community to spread the good word about all the content that you're making. And finally, just another little tool that I wanted to share with you. This one is free, and the other one is free as well. They just have a paid version. But this one is called Share Link Generator, sharelinkgenerator.com. That's the URL. I like this one because it's a one-stop shop to make click to tweet, click to share on Facebook, click to share on Google, click to share on Pinterest, click to share email, click to share on LinkedIn. So, you know, you could go to like click-to-tweet.com, and there are some individual sites, or like we said, what we just looked at, that social warfare plugin, that one lets you have pre-written text and everything as well. But what I like about this one is that you can use these links in like anywhere. You see what I'm saying? So even in your email marketing or something, I include these links in my PS all the time. So a good strategy would be, like, say that you have like for every email that you write, the default PS could be like, PS, thank you. Well, PS, thanks for reading. I hope you got a lot of value out of today's email. Please spread the love and share my content with your friends so that they can learn all of this great information for free too. And so you could have a click to tweet link, a click to share to Facebook link, and you could make sure that the posts are sending to your opt-in page, which, remember, you know, you're not just going to want to create your freebie, you're also going to want to create your opt-in. Those two things are going to be key to a successful list building strategy on social media. Now let's jump into the tactics section. The first social media site that we're going to talk about is Facebook. So before we continue forward with other strategies on Facebook, let's just talk a little bit about some general guidelines for good Facebook posting strategies. And so in today's lesson, we are not going to cover Facebook marketing at all, okay? That I'm going to save for our fourth lesson together. Our fourth lesson is going to be copywriting essentials for advertising, okay? So I thought that it would be more appropriate to discuss Facebook advertising strategies in that one. But for now, we're just going to talk about how you can use your business page and what some good posting guidelines are for that. So long form content is performing extremely well on Facebook. This is something that Gary Vaynerchuk has been talking about a lot. Something that you could do to experiment with this is, instead of posting a link to your blog post and a short status update like, oh, hey, check out my link here, what you could do instead is you could paste the full copy of your blog post, and throughout several places in your blog post, you could have a link that says, do you want to read this blog post in its natural display, like with nice pictures and nice formatting? Click here to check it out on my blog. So I would paste the full content of your blog, and I would have that call to action 3 separate places. You should include it after the first paragraph or the first 2 sentences. then again somewhere in the middle, and then finally at the end. So that way you are catching people at various stages of reading your content and letting them know that there is an opportunity that they could see this on a different style of page. Or instead of linking to it straight on your website, you can have these 3 call to actions be like, oh, do you love this content? You can get more great content delivered to you for free. Just click here, and that could be a link to your landing page. Again, you could have it in, right under the top, like a couple of sentences or paragraphs, somewhere in the middle, and then somewhere at the end. According to Kim Garst, there are a few different ways that Facebook algorithm prioritizes different content. So she says that the Facebook algorithm prioritizes live video the most. That's the algorithm's highest priority. And second to that is regular video. A third good content type that the algorithm prioritizes are images, and then finally link outs, and then finally text. So despite it's pretty public knowledge that Facebook values, say, photos and videos more than just text. But despite the fact that that's generally well known, it's still true that the most popular types of shared posts on business pages are text and links. And photos are a distant third, but primarily people are using text and link outs, even though those are some of the bottom for the Facebook algorithm's priorities, what it's going to be showing your fans. So we have discussed that the Facebook algorithm naturally has a very, very low percentage of people who it will organically show your content to, right? They are trying to make Facebook a pay-to-play game, but a way that you could get more than 0.02% of your audience to see the content is by, instead of, so the next time that you go to do a text post, instead of just making it a text post, add an image and allow the full text of what you wrote to be the description for the image, because it is, the algorithm is more interested in showing people images than text. It helps you out to kind of, glitch out the algorithm a little bit. But we do know that photos naturally catch people's eye more than just plain old text. So you can get more reacts and more comments as well just by doing that. And the way that the Facebook algorithm works is that when, let's say that you post something, and let's say that within a few minutes of you posting something, one of your fans likes it. When somebody is quick to react like that, Facebook says to themselves, oh, wow, people must really be digging this content, so let's show it to some more peeps. So that's a great way to help you build that, how Facebook is showing these posts. It's a little bit of a snowball effect. So when you can get just a few people in the beginning to comment or to like or to react, then Facebook will kind of spiral it out and show it to more and more people. A good way that you can get those first initial likes is if you are sharing the posts from your business page onto your personal page. So now let's talk about a Facebook specific strategy. Let's look at the cover photos of your business page. You used to not be able to include any contact information. You were not allowed to have email address or a website URL or even an address. That was all kind of a no-no as far as Facebook was concerned. Well, they have recently changed that, and now it is in the thumbs up A-OK category to include this type of stuff in your cover photo. You will just want to follow about the same best practices as the ads. So only less than 20% of your image should be this URL, for example. And I wanted to just show you guys, we're going to look at a few examples. Let's click through Amy Porterfield's so that you can see what some of the pros are doing. But so we can see here that from this edit to that edit, all she did was just make this text more legible and also increase the size of her URL, amyporterfield.com. Something that you can go back and do is edit this cover photo update with a long text, like describe what is going on. And so in this URL, it doesn't have to be to your website. This could be to your opt-in page, actually. So think about that. And even you might want to think about changing on your website and your about. You might not want it to be your home page. You might want it to be your opt-in page, so that anybody who is so inclined to click through is taken to an opportunity to make a developing and continued relationship. So this is pretty clever. Something that she did in this cover photo is to add a button graphic, click here for details. All that would do, like as a user experience, say that this was her active cover photo and I boop, I clicked here, then it would just pop up this light box just how we're looking now. So this click here for details button, that's not a hot link or anything. What it's doing is it's trying to make a visual cue for her readers that they should try to get into this like box. You see what I'm saying? So that they can read it here. And you'll notice that Amy Porterfield has here 2 separate calls to action to click out. Now I just wanted to show you an example of one of our rich friends. Tamisha, I thought, has a really great cover photo here, and I think that she has edited this since our lessons here, because I see that this is August 13th. And I noticed that this copy was a little bit in the direction of what we were discussing when I think I have discussed her business on our live streams. So I just wanted to give a thumbs up to Tamisha for watching our lessons and being a great rich friend, and also being a great learner and executing on the information that we're teaching as well. Also, just quick shout out here. I want to shout out Ed. I want to shout out Erica. I want to shout out all of you guys who, like I said, you guys here in Yakobili, you're being excellent students. I'm so happy with how many of you are acting on the lessons that we're doing together and executing that information in your own business. So what's great about Tamisha's cover photo here is that she is doing this long form content strategy. So when she updated this on her timeline of her page, what happened was that in the timeline of all of the people who like her page, they got this big story of how she got to be where she is today. They got to bond a little bit with her. Plus, they got to see this really cool, beautiful photo that she has. It has a great benefit-driven statement that she's going to make being healthy or being plant-based, which is something that a lot of people who are interested in health, we want. Like, I'm somebody who I consider myself like loosely interested in health, but I am not super serious about it. I don't buy a lot of supplements, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to adhere to a very, very strict diet. But so this speaks perfectly to me and to people like me who are at that level of fitness, that we are, maybe we're aware of some of the basic problems of nutrition and of exercise, but we don't want something super complicated. But at the same time, I am beyond, incorporate more water into your diet. I have a big 1 liter water bottle that I carry around with me every day. And so I have 3 to 4 liters of water, which, Nicole has talked about how important that is in your health challenge. But it's also incredibly important if you're somebody like me. I live in Florida and it's really hot here. So if you live somewhere that's hot, you're probably not drinking as much water as you think that as you should be. What you think is appropriate water intake is probably not reality. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this. I thought that it was cool, and I also like that she has this arrow graphic here. It's a great strategy to use arrows to direct the visual attention to the calls to action that you want people to take. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but in our first lesson together, we were looking at Gary Vaynerchuk's website, and I wanted to show you that he had an arrow that pointed to start here, but then it didn't load right on my computer. So I'm glad that I did get an opportunity to show you this tactic. The only thing that I could say for Tamisha is that she might want to incorporate more calls to action in this, because remember what we talked about, that phrase above the fold? That's everything that, in this instance, it's everything that people can see before they click see more. And so in a website context, above the fold we discussed, it means everything that you can see before you scroll down. So the only thing that I could say to Tamisha to make this even more amazing than it already is that you might want to include another call to action over like in this above the fold area, so that you're not relying on people to click this see more to get to yours, which is at the bottom. But I wanted to point this out. This is an excellent execution of this cover photo strategy. It's an excellent execution of our long form content strategy. And it's excellent that she has her call to action in this text. It's clickable, it's a hot link. Excellent, excellent job. And so finally, the other Facebook tactic that I wanted to cover with you guys is the contest. I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about 2 tools for how you can execute your contest. And what, really the most important thing is, what should you give people for a prize? That's going to really be the main indicator of what type of market you're attracting to your contest, right? So it's a bad idea to offer like $100 Amazon gift card or like a free iPad or something. When you go for gimmicky giveaways like that, you may attract more people to sign up, but unfortunately, you're mostly getting a lot of freebie seekers. So what I teach instead is that you should give your own products and services as the prize for doing this, because that way you can be sure that people who are signing up for this, like, one of our friends, rich friend Susan, she's like a business consultant. So she might want to put together maybe she could have 3 prizes or 4. You could do a grand prize winner that they win maybe a bunch of stuff from you, maybe a full system, or maybe they win all of your products and like 4 hours of consulting or something like that. But you could also have a first, second, and third prize that have kind of decreasing rewards as well. But what she could do is she could put together a bundle of her services and products, and she could say, grand prize winner, value of $1,000 or value of $1,200 or whatever it would cost to buy all of those services of hers separately. And instead of it being $1,000 to Amazon, it's just $1,000 worth of amazing services. And so, like I said, that way you can be sure that anybody who's signing up with you, that they are actually interested in the types of services that you provide. Something that's another good tip for when you run these is I highly recommend that everyone is a winner in your contest. And what I mean by that is that every person who signs up, you can communicate with them immediately and be like, thanks for signing up. We appreciate it. Here's your free gift. And you can put them into your opt-in sequence. So if we're going back to a 3-part video series, every single person who signs up for your contest, they win your freebie opt-in. And on top of that, they have their chances to win the grand prize and the first, second, third type of thing. My final tip for setting up structuring the contest before we actually dive into what these 2 tools are is you want to give people, yes, you want them to enter, but the real incentive for contests is not getting an individual, it's the opportunity for virality. So you should reward people more for sharing this out or for sharing, referring friends, then you reward them just for signing up. So you want to have a 1 to 10 ratio. So they should get 1 entry for signing up, and you should give them 10 entries for sharing on Twitter, for sharing on Facebook, for sharing on LinkedIn. And you're going to want to go into your contest software and be sure that you've set up the sharing for every single platform possible. Pinterest, you could consider Google Plus if you really want. You definitely want Facebook covered, Twitter covered. Some of them allow you to share on Instagram and some of you don't. LinkedIn covered, Pinterest covered. And you may even want to make and it depends on which software you're using, what exactly the specific options are, but you might even want them to be sharing your opt-in page. so that when their friends are looking and when their friends are clicking, they are offered an opportunity to sign up for your list. Or you could just stick with it that, the click out one-to-one is like click out to the, like, I'm not the person who has signed up. I'm a friend of a person who has signed up and I'm looking at their stuff. So for me, as the reader of a friend who's a potential referral, it's still totally fine if I click out and that click out goes right to the contest, where then I would still be giving you my information and all of that great jazz. So the tools that you can use to run your contest, Gleam.io. I like this one because it's a free option. You can get started with Gleam without paying money. They have a free plan. And what I did for mine is I ran my contest on the free plan, and then I paid the pro $39 at the end so that I could download it all as a .csv. But the free one, it'll let you pick winners and everything, and it'll let you set it up as sharing. But yeah, I just paid the fee once just to be able to download the CSV, because for some people, I know that it's not realistic for you to have a constantly running subscription of $39 just for running a contest, but it could be a good strategy to have a contest running every single month. So it depends on, or even bi-monthly or even quarterly, but contests can be a very powerful way to generate leads in an automated way to your business all the time. And the second tool that I wanted to tell you about is the Contest Domination app. So this one is only a paid product, okay? So that's why I wanted to tell you about Gleam, because you could get started in a more simplified way without having to pay any money at all. But if you are interested in perhaps doing what I said and like having a constantly rolling contest going on, I think that Contest Domination is the way to go, because as you saw in Gleam, the business plan is like $150 a month. This business plan is only $80 a month, and you get all of the advanced features. This one has some more advanced features, like you could create a like gate on your contest, so people can't enter your contest unless they are already fans of your page. And so that's what I mean when in the beginning I said that we're not focusing on these vanity metrics. We're not focusing on building more fans or building your presence on Facebook. Instead, our number one priority for social media is for you to get new leads to your email list. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to increase your presence on these social media systems. Naturally, people are going to find you as you continue to create extremely valuable content on these social platforms, and as you continue to promote yourself, for example, using some of these contest tactics. The next platform that we're going to address is YouTube. I have 3 little tactics for you to use on YouTube. The first 2 are kind of pretty common but often overlooked, and the third one is a little bit more advanced, but it's a cool free way that you can add a clickable call to action to your YouTube videos, okay? So tip number 1 to consider about YouTube: you have to think about people who watch your video content and they watch from start to finish, they complete your video. Those people are hot leads. They are super into what you're saying. Not every single person who starts your YouTube video is going to finish it, so you should be sure to tell them what to do next. And a lot of people forget to have a call to action at the end of your video. It sounds easy, but like I said, it's really often overlooked. So when you're setting out to create your video in the beginning, keep in mind, what would I like the next step to be for the people who are watching this? And when you're creating your video and way before you're ever recording it, you should have in mind, where am I going to send them? And it's totally fine if you're going to send them to a blog post, if you're going to send them to your opt-in page, or wherever you're going to send them, but you should take the opportunity to ask them to go somewhere every single time. Because look, people aren't going to do something unless you ask. So why not take the opportunity to ask at least once per video? You could even create a special web page specifically to send your YouTube leads to, where you have opt-in content that is more relevant to them, and you can talk about all of the other amazing content they're going to be they'll be getting as part of your list. The second tactic is to be sure that you're adding calls to action in your description. And specifically, you're going to want to make the first line of your video to be like, do you want to learn more about this topic? Click here to read my guide that goes 1,000 times more in depth and answers all of the questions, all of your lingering questions that you might have with the URL. And then if you usually write like a lengthy description or something like that, you're going to want to also include the URL at the bottom. So what you're going to want to do to add a call to action to your YouTube video is you're going to want to first obviously create a photo with Canva or your favorite easy to use photo editor, Photoshop, and then you want to go into the video editor in YouTube. So the way that you can do that, I'm just going to play this little directions here on the background, but you're going to want to be using the YouTube video editor. Then you can just simply you're going to download that little call to action button. And remember when we were looking at Amy Porterfield's content on her cover photo, like a little button like that, and you're just going to want to write like a simple one sentence explanation about what they can get, a button that says click here, and you can use your little YouTube video editor, and you're just going to drop this in, click on your image and drop it into the video. And then what you're going to want to do after that is just to simply add a clickable annotation on your YouTube video. So like I said, you're going to want to definitely be dropping the photo into the video first, because you're going to need to put the annotation over that image, and so you're not going to know where to put that annotation until the actual image is there and ready to go. But then you can just add an easy to use click out annotation, and you will be able to direct people to a call to action of your choice. Next, let's address some strategies that are specific to Pinterest. A lot of us might be ignoring Pinterest because we think that, oh, I'm not selling shoes or makeup, so I don't see how my business is going to be successful there. Particularly if you're a service business, or if you're in some type of professional consulting field, or even if you're in some type of brick and mortar store, it can seem a little bit complicated or abstract how Pinterest exactly could relate to us. But I think that we are ignoring Pinterest to our own disadvantage, because Pinterest is actually the second biggest referrer of traffic to websites compared to all of the other social channels like LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on. The first biggest referrer being Facebook. Some stuff that you can do on Pinterest to promote your list building. First off, you can just straight up pin images of your blogs, like pin the web image from whatever you have natively on your website onto Pinterest. But that's not the only thing that you can do. You can also reintroduce things that you've already pinned onto Pinterest just by picking another photo. And you can use, like I said, Canva to edit that photo to have more text space, and be more overall usable for Pinterest. But yeah, and either time that you do this, you can just write a full, lengthy, benefit-oriented description in the pin, and you're going to want to be sure that you add the actual URL of either your blog post or whatever into the description too. Something else that you can do is not just sharing your blog posts, but you can also share your opt-in pages, your sales pages, or even direct links to where people can buy your products. You can just create a special fancy looking image and put that straight on Pinterest so that you can be driving traffic you can be list building by driving traffic to your opt-in pages, or you can be generating sales by leading people straight to your products. You can even make a board. So like, let's say that you have a specific course, right? Like, let's use Erica as an example. She has a great watercolor color theory painting course. So she could make flux imagery watercolor mixing course as one board that she has. And, you know, she can share the product page. She can share testimonials of some of her previous clients. She should share some of the results of other people that they have, you know, what creations have people made. You could even show, you know, like I'm assuming that every single person might wind up with their very own painted little custom color wheel. So you could have a little circlet of their picture. You could have their testimonial quote, and then underneath you could show in the graphic what exactly they created. So what is a successful image on Pinterest? In general, you want the images to be more tall than they are wide, because the taller the images on Pinterest, the more real estate that it takes up in the news feed. So you could try 200 by 800 if you want just a basic dimension to experiment with, but you really can do any size board, image, even significantly larger images. All that you really care about is that you want it to be about 3 times as tall as it is wide. So a great board to check out if you are curious how to market yourself, especially if you're doing some paid products, if you're doing some paid courses, or maybe you're in a professional service industry like I am or like Susan is, and you're not really sure how this could apply to you. HubSpot is a great example. They have, you know, you can just be inspired so many different ways on how you can create and share content from your own products just by looking at how they're doing theirs. Let's move on to some Instagram best practices. I'm going to leave the screen up and not put it on my face because I do have a few examples that I want to show you. Let's just kind of scroll to my profile page. I just want to point this out that I only have 423 followers, and you'll see why that's important because I'll show you some of the likes that I have on my photos. And I only have 42 posts, so I don't really post that often. But if you follow these best practice posting guidelines that I'm going to tell you, you will be very happy with some of your results that you'll be able to get. So how often should you post to Instagram? I think it really depends on how effective, how much impact Instagram is having in your business, how much you should of your time you should devote to trying to grow a following on there. If you want to be one of those people who has like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, just keep in mind that a realistic expectation to get to that level is that you're really going to need to be posting a few times per day, if not daily. Probably daily would not be often enough to get you to that goal, or at least not to get you there anytime fast. But if you are just somebody who's interested in casually using Instagram to generate leads of people who may be more visually oriented, and I believe that Instagram is not skewed as heavily female as Pinterest is, so that's pretty cool. It's just a new way that you could really engage with your audience. So a more reasonable expectation, if you're not trying to build an account of tens of thousands of followers, would be to post at least once a week at the lower end, or a few times a week at the higher end. Something that I have found to be extremely effective is to write very long captions on Instagram. And so like I said, I wanted to point out to you that I only have about 400 followers, but I'm consistently able to smash 100 likes on basically every single picture that I post, just by posting the ways that I do. When you're writing a description on Instagram, I mean, the visual is important, but I think that you would be surprised how not important it is to these two other strategies that I'm going to tell you, posting best practices. The first most important posting best practice is to try to write a very long and detailed caption. What I mean by long is over 4 lines. But you'll notice that some experts like Chalene Johnson, she'll write entire essays in her Instagram posts. So definitely on Instagram, the longer the better, because the Instagram algorithm values images that have long descriptions because they feel like you must be sharing something of value if you have that much to say to it. So here are just a few examples of what how long this caption should be for you to get results. So this one is 180 likes, this one is 140 likes, this one is this one is 204 likes. Okay, you see what I'm saying here, you guys? Just by following these tips that I'm gonna give you, you could have 1/4 to 1/2 of your total followers liking your posts. So that's why I take this pretty serious. The second most important thing is to use 30 hashtags. And so what I do to be sure that I'm consistently posting the proper number of hashtags is that I have a note on my phone where I save like my 30 core hashtags, and then I have a few others in groups. Like I have different hashtags that I use if I'm doing like posting about my books or anything like that. I have like 30 that I like to be active in as far as marketing is concerned, and then I have a few other categories of like 10 to 15 that I can kind of interchange them and swap them to build my own combo of 30 different hashtags. So how can you find hashtags? I wanted to share this tool with you. This one is called hashtagify.me, and I really like it because you can learn so much super valuable information, and it's a completely free tool. You can pay for some more advanced features, but like, you know, one hashtag that I like to use is marketing nerd, because that's how I describe myself. I am, you know, I study economics. I read like 20 to 30 books every year on marketing. So I'm like a total dork about marketing, and I like to be active in this hashtag. And it will tell you what other hashtags are also popular in use. And so I include these. Like, you have to make obviously informed decisions about what is and isn't important. Like, I highly doubt that hashtag Viagra is super relevant to marketing nerds, but I know that in marketing, like sometimes I feel like that might be a little bit too broad. So this one, and they'll give you also a popularity ranking. So just keep in mind, like something that's 80, like social media or marketing, that probably means that it is a very, very noisy environment. But this one that's techie, this could be a good opportunity for me to be active in here. It's popular enough that there's probably several posts per hour on this hashtag. Like marketing nerd, that one is only at 20, so that means that maybe every day there's a post on it. There could be a few days that it's not active at all. But when you see ones that are popularity, like, and so you only have to do this by ratio. So like we're looking at marketing and we see that that's 80. So, and we know that marketing is highly targeted by every single HubSpot, Pat Flynn, John Lee Dumas, Amy Porterfield, Chalene Johnson. I'm sure every single one of these people has posted hashtag marketing at least once, if not several times. Same with hashtag social media. Like, and these ones that are at 80 are probably botted all the time. There's probably so much spam. If you're posting with hashtag marketing, particularly on Twitter, you're going to find yourself on a lot of like spam auto-generated lists type of thing. So it's good to note these, but you want to use a ratio of like 80. That's probably a little bit too big that you could get lost in the noise. But 50, like 20 to 50, that's probably the sweet spot for, it's an active tag. You can reach your audience that way, but there's not so much noise that you're being drowned out. But at the same time, there's not so few people posting that it's not worth your time at all. So like techie, that would be one that I would look at. Work things, let's see, SMM, that means social media marketer. So it's at 70, not quite 80, but I know that a lot of people bought this one too. And what's cool about Hashtagify Me is that it will let you click through. And so you can see the spider web of this that we just saw, the spider web of how that relates to marketing nerd. And so like when we go into techie, like when you click on the bubble and you see the other hashtags that are related to it, it also can kind of let you know whether or not this is a good market for you to reach. So like I might avoid this one because I see that it's all about, it's not really that focused on marketing. It's more about like Silicon Valley type of stuff, which, you know, some of my market is in that group, but I would not say that that's my core demographic. So it's techie is one to keep in mind, but maybe not one that I would use. I might take a look at work things. And looking at this spider web, it's a little bit hard for me to make a decision about whether or not this would be super related to my market, but sometimes checking out this little stream of recent comments, that can help you make the decision as well. So I see that people are talking about their coworkers, they're talking about breaks at work, they're talking about training at work. So this might be one that is at least a contender for something for me to take a look at. Now, a tool that I wanted to tell you guys about is this called Snap Widgets. What it lets you do basically is you can track a hashtag, or you can use it to live track your own profile, like every single photo that you post. But honestly, Instagram has a native feature for that is just fine, so you shouldn't really be using the Snap widget for that. But specifically what it's for is for tracking like a live stream of the hashtags that like it'll pull up all the photos that people, like it'll show people how others are engaging with your brand by pulling up photos that are tagged with your hashtag. And I wanted to show you just this cool example of how one company, a clothing company called Black Milk, is using this strategy. So like, why might you want to live pull hashtags? Because you can use them for social proof on your website. And so not every single posting has these photos because, not every single product, I guess people haven't tagged it on Instagram. But many of their products do have this little, and so they use another one called Tagged, another feature called Tagged. I know that the one that I showed you before, the Snap widget, that one has a free option. So let's quick check out this paid option and see if they have, this Tagged, and see if they have a free option as well. But it'll just live populate this bottom. So this sounds like something that's paid only. But this TAGGD, that's another one that you could check out if you want. Snapwidget.com, that's going to be one that will allow you to get this type of look for free. And here's, just the second product of theirs so that you can see what these posts are doing. But it adds like a really cool element of social proof to your products on your website if you wanted to incorporate social media like that. Finally, the other tip that I just want to give you is in your bio, you should either be using, I just use a quick Google URL shortener, but if you're using PrettyLink, they also have a lot of analytics in their product offering as well. But you should just have a quick link to your, mine is to my blog because that's where I want people to go. But if you have your opt-in offer and your opt-in page all ready to go, you just probably will want to go and change the link on every single one of your socials, from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You're going to want to have, even on Pinterest, you're going to want to have all of these link out to your opt-in page so that when people make this decision to click out to your website, they have an opportunity to form a lasting relationship with you. I'm comfortable using it to my Medium blog because at the bottom of all of my posts is an opportunity for people to connect with me. But you just want to make sure that you are clear on ways that that all of the calls to action that you have on your social media are asking people for that. They're asking people to opt in and to give them the opportunity to build an ongoing relationship with you. Finally, let's talk about specific tactics for Twitter. Like I covered, you're probably going to want to do the obvious, which is to change your link and your Twitter bio to be directing people to your opt-in page instead of directing them to your home page. But I wanted to talk about some specific tactics and tools that I thought are really cool that maybe you've never heard of them before, and just to open your eyes up to some of the other ways that you could use Twitter to try to build your list. One example of this is something called Twitter cards. You basically can create these special little, and like I said, I want to link these directions for you. But you can create a summary card with like a huge, large image. You can create tweets that autoplay like a video or audio, something like that. They have a lot of different types of cards that you can explore. And all you have to do is just simply type in Twitter cards, and you should get this link from the developer aspect of Twitter, where they will show you how to get started and how like click you out to all of these different like directions for each specific type of the Twitter cards and everything. But there's one specific one that I wanted to tell you about, which is called a lead generation card. This is just going to be some directions that playing in the background that will show you where to click out specifically to get these lead generation cards, and I'll show you an image of what it looks like in a second. But what's pretty cool about them is that instead of at first I was imagining that you could use a big image card and use the technique that Tamisha used, where you have an arrow down. Well, I guess it would be an arrow up actually, so you could have a big display image card, and that above you would link to your opt-in page, and that could be pinned to your profile. But there's another style of card called the lead generation card, where you can make a call to action, and what it will do is it will allow you, well, the user, the reader, to automatically join your email list, and it's just auto-populated with their email address that they have registered for Twitter. And so as you can see in these little directions that we have running in the background, you find these in your Twitter ads. So all you have to do is just go to Twitter ads, and under the ads there is a setting for the cards. And like I said, when you Google Twitter cards and look at that developer page, it will link you out to a like their developer website, where you can find directions for all the specific types of things. And this is just a little bit of a picture of what these opt-in, or these lead generation opt-in cards look like. But so you should pin this to help you with lead generation on social media. You should create one of, you could either do it, like I said, just an image card, where instead of this one-click sign-up aspect, this wouldn't be here, but it would just be this, hey Twitter followers, be sure to connect via email to receive my latest blog posts. You could make that even more awesome. Like, nobody cares about getting your blog posts. They care about what you're teaching them or what they will get out of it. So it could be like, be sure to connect via email to get free, awesome, detailed marketing guides or something like that. But anyway, so instead of this one-click sign-up aspect, it would just be a big photo with this little graphic, a little arrow pointing, and then here it would just have your URL of your opt-in page. Or you can go with this one-click sign-up option, and then you have all of that all set up and taken care of for you. Another tool that I wanted to show you related to Twitter is this thing called a tweet chat. I just wanted, we'll look at Marketing Nerd just so that you can see what exactly this is going to look like. But what's pretty cool about this is that it will give you a live stream of all of the tweets as they have been posted of like a specific hashtag, and it's pretty cool because it'll let you like click out to individual people's profiles. So like by me searching Marketing Nerd, it can be a great way for me to find new people to connect with. And hey, weirdly enough, look at what, this was totally random. Like I just lived it. Look at this time. It's 1:51 on August 22nd. So this was totally random. I just happened to click out to this girl's profile, but look, she has a Twitter card here. So this is what I was saying. If you didn't do the one-click opt-in, it would look like this instead. So just a big photo. And so if you're doing only the feature image card, you're going to want the arrow to be pointing up instead of down. But so if you do the one-click opt-in, you'll want to make your arrow pointing down and into the right-hand corner, because that's where your one-click opt-in button will be. But yeah, I mean, I just find it pretty cool. This is very helpful for me to find new users, because like Hashtagify, they are not super awesome at having this timed. Like, theirs are not live. Theirs are just a random selection of tweets that were posted in the last... By the way, hashtagify.me, the tool that we looked at in Instagram, you can use that for research for Instagram and for Twitter. But like I said, it'll show you tweets that use that hashtag, but they're not like in the order as they were posted. It's just kind of like a random selection of tweets from the last 24 hours. So this tweetchat.com, it's a little bit more, and I just like it. It's more organized. You can also do other cool things with it. Like, you can create a room where if you were having like a event or a product launch or a conference or something, people could interact with each other much like a chat room using this tool. You also can embed these into your website. So again, think back to what we were looking at with our Instagram tactic example when we looked at that Black Milk clothing website, and they had the pictures that their customers have used as social proof. So you could do something like that with Twitter. But I just wanted to show you this. You should Google embed a timeline, because Twitter has this functionality natively built in. And you can even, this one that it says search, display customized search results in real time, that would allow you to do a stream from a specific hashtag. So if you have like a brand hashtag or something like that, this would be a great option for you. This is something that you can play around with incorporating on your website. You can incorporate an aspect of social proof using it. But overall, it's just a great tool for you to be able to use for Twitter. All right, rich friends, that's what we have for today, our lesson 3. And I just wanted to take a second to ask you guys that if you like all of these lessons that I've been teaching you, you love all the information and the value bombs that I've been dropping, I would love it if you guys could leave me a review, okay? So you can find it at facebook.com/TheDoerCo. It's spelled TheDoerCo with no spaces, /reviews, okay? And so if you could just take a peek at facebook.com/TheDoerCo/reviews and drop me a review right here, I would really appreciate that, so that you guys can let me know that I'm doing a good job for you. As you can see here, our rich friend Ed, he's already taken the time to do that. All right, rich friends, like I said, that's what we have for our lesson 3 here. So I would really appreciate it a lot if you could take the time to go to my Facebook page, like it if you want to keep in touch with me, and if you could please just write me a review so that everybody can know all of the amazing value that I've been bringing you this August. And now let's talk really quickly about your homework. Your homework for this lesson is to review the beginning. You're going to want to look at all of the criteria that we discussed for your opt-in, your free lead magnet generation. You're going to want to plan your first opt-in opportunity, okay? Even, don't feel stressed that it has to be your keystone one. Just create some type of a lead generation magnet that you can start promoting today. And you're going to want to think about how you can incorporate an opt-in page into that process as well, okay? But so your homework for this lesson is to create your first opt-in opportunity, because your whole social media list building strategy, it all really depends on you having something that's enticing and something that calls out to your market to connect with you. Thank you for joining me for this 3rd video, and keep an eye out for next week, our final video together, where we're going to be talking about advertising, copywriting essentials. We're going to talk all about Facebook ads. Maybe we'll talk about writing podcast advertising scripts, and we may even get the opportunity to talk about landing pages or to talk about doing a video sales letter. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and I will see you guys on our live stream on Thursday. Bye-bye, rich friends. Thanks for joining me.